Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to continue with the polypaint and we're going to be adding more details to our character. So the first thing I want to add, as you can see here, if we go into our flat color, you're going to see that the overall lighting situation for our character is pretty much the same. Now usually you want to keep it like that, but if we want to really push this concept, we can actually use some of our colors to add more light and more shadow to other parts of our character. So for instance, I can grab this color right here, go a little bit lighter like this pink light, and kind of like if I was wearing or using makeup, I'm gonna push the pinkiness of these areas a little bit more. Let me see where my RGB intensity is. There we go. There we go. So see how we can push that? It's gonna be really subtle. So I'm just gonna kind of like highlight some of the like the upper points of my character. I can even do that a little bit here on the cheekbones. And it's kind of like using makeup, or like we were adding makeup to our character. I think it's a little bit too much, so let's bring the RGB intensity back. And very softly, we're gonna highlight a couple of the areas of our character. That's gonna really bring him up into like a nicer effect. Another thing that's very common is, for instance, when you shave, you usually get like this sort of like dark spots or greenish look here. So I'm gonna go for like a dark green effect, and we're gonna be adding a little bit of this effect here on the chin. So you can see the green is way too green. So let's go a little bit darker, like not so saturated. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. And here, I'm not sure. Yeah, we have symmetry turned on. So I'm gonna be adding like this sort of effect. And it's gonna make my character look a little bit more mature, right? We're gonna be adding hair, by the way. This is also the chapter where we're gonna be taking a look at fiber mesh. So that's why I'm adding like this sort of like preparation for the beard and the effects that we're gonna be adding. So there we go. Let's add a little bit of that over here, and that's it. Now we have this nice little cut right here, and that's where blood would be really good. So I'm gonna go for like a darkish red, and very softly I'm gonna start painting this with this red blood. So we're gonna go right there. Now, unfortunately, I had symmetry turned on and there's no symmetry for this scar. So I'm gonna go back, turn symmetry off, and it's just a matter of adding this paint color right here. So I'm guessing this is a fresh wound because otherwise it wouldn't be as red as what we have right now. So that's why it's like super intense. And usually like the skin would get a little bit red on the sides. So in this case, it would be like a little bit pinkish, like freshly cut skin. Let's go a little bit redder, because you usually get a little bit of inflammation on the sides of a cut. All of your defense cells, your white blood cells, doing the fight so that you don't get an infection. And there we go. That looks pretty cool. Animals, I know I'm not saying that this guy's an animal, but animals usually have like some like skin effects. So here's where I might go with like some bigger dots and add a little bit of texture, like on the scalp, pretty much. Like we can add some interesting spots here and there, just to add, some visual interest to the skin. I want the skin to have some sort of like weird look. Let's make it a little bit darker. We could even grab, like, change this to drag red and change this. There's like this alpha 25, which is like a weird skin texture. It's a little bit too much, I think. So I'm gonna just bring the intensity way down, just like a little bit of like branding. Well, it's not a brand, but it's something there. So it's a very again cool way to add variation to our creatures, to our characters, so that we get something nice out of them. There we go. Now, another thing that we can do, of course, is add like marks and branding. So again, I mentioned this guy was he's supposed to be like a demon from hell, who's trying to redeem himself, kind of like Hellboy. So we could add like a tattoo. So what if we were to go here to the side of the mask, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a mask. I'm gonna draw like this weird runes going on the side of his head, of his eye, kind of like Mike Tyson. There we go. And then you can just invert this. Let's select like a blue color, like a nice, like kind of shiny blue color. And with a low intensity, 24 seems fine. I'm just gonna fill the object. probably twice. So now, as you can see, we have a nice little like tattoo over there, which is it's gonna make the character look a lot nicer. Let's talk about the horns, because we haven't done the horns yet, and here's where we can decide what kind of like color they're gonna have. Usually they're like dark, like the usual color for horns is like dark brown. So I think in this case we're gonna keep it similar. So we're gonna go with like a dark desaturated brown like this. I am gonna go RGB intensity to 100, and we're gonna say fill object. And unfortunately, this one's like they don't really benefit a lot from what we're doing with the the airbrush. They benefit a little bit more from what we just saw, which is the cavity masking. So I'm gonna go again here and mask by cavity. You're gonna see that we get all of that effect. Let's invert this. Let's grab like a darker color, and let's fill the object. This one's gonna be quite heavy. There we go. So that's gonna give me some quite heavy effects. And then we can like sample the color, go for like a lighter tone. And here manually we can again build up our spray or our airbrush effect, the color spray. My god, there we go, color spray. And we can hit some of the like the upper parts. Let's increase the intensity a little bit. We can hit the upper parts to give it a little bit of lightness, right? To light up all of these effects. So it's kind of like if we were painting the light in. We're not really like creating a gradient or anything. It's more again like painting the light in. And we can go a little bit higher and a little bit lighter. Give it another pass like up here. And again, that's gonna make the horns really shine. If we need to tone it down, we just need to grab like the original tone and just like fade it out a little bit. Use it to kind of kick the color back and blend it back to the original color that it had. Now this is the kind of color that I would need to add to this little horns right here. So I'm gonna go back to the little guy here. Let's increase the RGB intensity so we can paint this little like incrustations here. There we go. And painting is a lot like sculpting, because you're gonna be deciding where all of these elements are. And it's a lot of fun, to be honest. And not only is it a lot of fun, your character and your creations will look a lot better if you spend the time to give them a little bit of a hand paint. Or yeah, if you paint them, you're gonna really appreciate it, because the character is gonna be kind of like finalized. You're gonna be seeing like the final process for the whole thing. We can just click here, BPR, and get a look of how nice this looks. Look at that. Pretty nice skin tone. It's not just like a purple. There's a lot of tones and things going on around this character that are making him look so cool. I'm gonna go to the eyes, and I think I want to keep the eyes like white. I think they would look quite interesting and contrasty. Now we could of course remember the contrasty color is yellow, so maybe he has yellow eyes, like mustard eyes. Again, RGB intensity to 100, and we said fill object, and there we go. Our character is looking quite nice. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm thinking about if there's anything else that we're missing, but I don't think so. There's a couple more things that I want to show you. I want to add a little bit more like visual interest to the whole character, but we're not going to be able to do it as easily with just painting. There's certain things that a human can't paint as easily, so we're going to be using some textures to add more detail, but we're going to be doing that on the next video. So make sure to get to this point. It might take you a little bit longer than what it's taking me, because of course, if you're just learning, you're going to have to get used to the tools and stuff. But yeah, we're going to do textures next, and after that, we're going to be moving on to the hair, which is going to be really cool as well. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye bye.